Hey folks, this is Best in Slot with all the news about the upcoming update to the brand new free update for Jurassic World Evolution 2, landing on the 8th of March to coincide with the Camp Cretaceous Dinosaur Pack. As per usual, these free updates are really good. This one in particular is a huge, chunky update full of great stuff, so I'm going to try to get through it relatively quickly. There's a lot to get through, but if you want to read it in your own time, you can check out the forum post down below. But honestly, shout out to Frontier, because this is free, everybody gets this, and it's a really good update. As you're about to see, let's get started. So, we've got a few new screenshots, not much to take away from this one, so this little topic is going to be all about the changes coming to Sandbox mode. First things first, not sure how relevant it'll be for a lot of people, but for some it definitely will be. All your dinosaurs or your skins and patterns that you'd unlock usually during regular gameplay are now available from the get-go in Sandbox mode. If you loaded up the game for the very first time and went straight into Sandbox mode, you'd have every dinosaur available, you'd have most of the skins, most of the patterns and stuff like that. I know there are people out there who still don't have every dinosaur unlocked because it can be a really annoying grind, so this is a really positive change. It is worth noting that that does not include the challenge mode stuff. There's a few skins you get just for doing challenge mode on various difficulties. Those will not be unlocked by default for fairly obvious reasons, but everything else in the game is available, including buildings by the way. Everything else is available in Sandbox right from the get-go. We can now also toggle research and expeditions in challenge mode, so if you wanted you could turn this on, and when you load into Sandbox mode, I should say, apologies, you'd start off with, you know, barely anything, no dinosaurs, etc, etc, and you'd have to send out expeditions and go through kind of what you would do in challenge mode, but of course we've seen challenge mode has a limited dinosaur roster, limited species roster, and has many other things going on, less settings. So if you kind of wanted a more expansive, more controllable challenge mode, if you wanted a challenge mode that included every single dinosaur in the game, this would be the way to go. This is basically bringing back that JPOG style challenge mode, I would suggest. But as cool as all this is, the next two are the big ones. So the first is the ability to reduce task time to 10, 25, 50, 75 or 100%. Now it says basically that reduces the time it takes for timed tasks to complete. It doesn't give any specifics, but what I'm assuming is at the very least that's going to include, say, your research and expeditions. You know, the things with a little number at the side. What I'm hoping and what I'm also assuming is that it will include dinosaur incubation, both the pre-egg and post-egg stage, the two phases of life we all go through, and especially building as well. I don't really have a better way to put that. The creation of buildings will hopefully also be instant. The dinosaurs is definitely the big thing. It could take you like 10 minutes to make an Indominus Rex sometimes. So the ability to take that task time away entirely, get that all instantaneously, is a really cool change, and one that we've wanted for a long time. One that we've wanted throughout the entirety of the first game as well. However, that's not even the biggest change. This is toggle scientists. Finally, after fighting for months for this, we have the ability to toggle scientists in Evolution 2. Like, we've been asking for this since the game came out. Obviously, it should have been there from the get-go. It wasn't. Not a big deal. We finally have it now. No more dilly-dallying with this nonsense mechanic in Sandbox mode. You can just set your dinosaurs to incubate. Nothing else will happen, and it'll incubate. You don't have to toggle a scientist to go through any of that or build any of those buildings. So, really positive changes there for Sandbox mode. And the next little bit, we'll link into that a little bit as well. We've got some new decorations. Of course, we have the return of the raptor paddock from the first game and indeed first film. Not totally sure why it was caught in the first place, if we're totally honest, but it doesn't matter. It's back. It's looking cool. Let's read a little bit about decorations. So, decorations. First things first, 40 new decorations being added to the game in total. There's one. They're split into two categories this time, so we're going to have facility decorations, which are themed around the DFW. I'm assuming that's more utilitarian stuff, less fancy park stuff, basically. More utility, not building a fancy Jurassic World. Maybe this raptor paddock actually would be part of the DFW set. We'd have to wait and see. I should mention really quickly, I somehow didn't pick up on this when I first made the video, so I'm just going to chuck this in right now. I mentioned the DFW decorations, and we didn't really know what they were going to look like, but we do know what they're going to look like. There's so many of them on this image right here. We've got like a little storage facility here, these kind of almost stable looking buildings here and here, general storage facilities and stuff like that. We've got this not a camper van, like a trailer, office, mobile office sort of thing. We've got shipping crates, maybe even the vehicle I think there might be someone in the back of that, so maybe not, but the vehicle could be part of it as well. All this stuff here is seemingly new and seemingly part of the DFW decoration pack. It's actually really cool looking stuff as well. These buildings, it's all really good. That's going to be a big boon for our parks. Of course, if you play on console, last gen consoles, you won't be able to mix these with the other stuff, but for those of us on PC, those of us on PS5, those of us on Series X and S, you'll be able to put these in your Jurassic Park, in your Jurassic World, mix it all together and have like utility sections to your park or like backstage sections, stuff like that. Very cool stuff. The decoration bit at least is going to include new signs, new planters, new fountains, and a Velociraptor and Spinosaurus skeleton. Now the Spinosaurus skeleton, really cool, that's of course coming from Jurassic World. The Raptor skeleton, kind of coming out of nowhere, but very exciting as well. Another cheeky addition. We can actually get a glimpse at some of those new decorations. That was very weird English. Right here, so this is one of the fountains. I'm not sure how much all this middle part is part of it. I suspect it's by default, but you can see here we've got a ringed fountain here. We've got a bit of water in the middle, all poofing up, poof, like so. And then there's a section in the middle with all this foliage. We've got rocks, and we've even got these big chunks of amber dotted around as well. Hopefully we get some of those as placeable individual decorations as well. But either way, fountains are finally in. Of course, in the pre-release gameplay from ages ago, the decoration symbol used to be a fountain. And then it got changed because assumedly fountains got cut from release for whatever reason. They needed a bit more time to get them working, etc. So fountains got cut, the icon got changed, but they're back. Maybe the icon will change back again, who knows. You can also see some of the signs here. They're actually really cool. So we've got a Pteranodon sign here, and we've got a Mosasaurus sign here. They're different from the typical Jurassic World style. They've got their own unique new style. You know, you can see the typical ones there in the background. And a bit more action-y, really interesting ways of advertising your creatures. It'd be really cool to see more of these for more species in the park. I was about to say we're nearly there. We're somewhat nearly there. A little bit more to go, still on the decorations, as you can probably see by looking around here. It's worth noting, look at these little trees here. Wait, I'm on the wrong thing. Look at these little trees here. Little baby trees, because placeable trees have also returned. I think this might be separate from decorations, which means we get even more decorations. Anyways, placeable trees have returned again. These will actually contribute to your dinosaur's comfort needs, which is pretty cool. I think they did in the first game as well, but it's cool that it's back. They've been split into 4 categories. We've got large trees, like this big, there's a big boy over there. We've got large trees, we've got, say, medium trees, we've got small trees, and these are probably bushy. They could be small, I don't know, but more bushy sort of things, ones that splay outwards a little bit more. So that's pretty cool as well. You can't mix and match them across environments, which is a little bit of a shame. So you'll have, you know, tiger trees, and you'll have, which sounds terrifying, you'll have desert trees, stuff like that, and you'll stick to those in those environments. But still, placeable trees are really good for our decoration purposes, for both enclosures and the park itself. And having categories and a bit more variety is really cool as well. The one thing we all pray for, however, is the return of a big tree. I don't know if you remember it, but it looked something like that, and it was blessed and holy, and I want it back. Right, moving on. So, here we see a park tour entering the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus habitat, because this is all about the first-person mode, and 2 pretty cool extra details here. So, you can change your viewing height if you want it to be a giant or a baby. I don't know what the difference is going to be. I don't know how much we're going to change it, but let's say you can be a giant or a baby. You can also control your walking speed, hopefully like a shift sprint kind of situation. And there's also a flashlight as well, or at least a light. I don't know if it's going to look like a flashlight or more like a bubble of light around your body. Either way, there will be a light. Very similar to Cowdenix recent mod, but it's always nicer when these features get integrated into the game completely and fully, and that's part of the game itself. And really, because it means people on console and stuff can also play with this stuff, and we can make some Jurassic World Evolution 2 horror, which would be really good. And also, actually, really surprisingly, more in-depth than I expected. We're going to have the ability to interact with park buildings and vehicles, etc. Now, I think that what this will basically mean is your character, let's say, I'll do a pro drawing so you know what I'm on about. You're walking along, there's you, there's George. George has a hat. And there's your hatchery building right there. So you walk up to your hatchery. I think it'll be kind of like when you drive your Ranger vehicles around, you can click things like that. You walk up to your hatchery though, and it'll pop up with a pop-up like this one here saying, open hatchery, and that'll pull you away to the hatchery menu, where you then choose your dinosaurs and go through all your hatchery stuff. And then when you close out of that menu, you would go back to your first-person view mode and walk around like that. So if you wanted, in theory, you could manage the entire park from first person. You wouldn't be able to build anything, but if your park was already built, you could sustain it in first person. You could run around and fix the fences, you could run around and, you know, reboot your power stations and turn your hatcheries and produce more dinosaurs and stuff like that. That's actually a really interesting idea as well. Also, your dinosaurs, if they got sick, you'd be in trouble. But either way, you could do quite a lot of stuff in first person, which is really cool. A little bit more to go. So this right here is the species viewer, and you can see we've got customization here. Edit the appearance. This is for the environment itself. There's a I didn't write this one down, but there's a dinosaur pronunciation guide which you can click on. And there it is, floating in the black nether. Our Tyrannosaurus Rex up close, looking beautiful. Let's get some details. You can, as we've been begging and hoping for, you can control skin color and pattern. You can go through all the combinations of skin color and pattern available and choose which one you want to showcase. This, of course, is the Lost World Rex we've got right here. But if you wanted to try any of the 80 plus, I can't remember what the number is, 90 plus skin color combinations, you can try them all out in the species view and know exactly what it's gonna look like before you release it. This is something people have been crying out for. Personally, me, I'm still gonna use the randomize option, so it's not really for me, but I know people have been begging for this option, so it's really cool that we're getting it into the game. And as part of a brand new whole feature, it's not just a better preview, it's a whole new system, which is pretty fantastic. Like I say, Frontier go hard on these free updates. It's really worth remembering. You can also change color lighting positions. You can see your light settings, position, rotation. So if you want it to light up here or light down here, blah, blah, just make your Rex look super dramatic, or try out different color lightings, stuff like that. As you can see, you can also change the color grading. So you've got Jurassic Park, you've got Jurassic World Neutral, Jurassic World Alpine. I can't remember what the others are. There's a bunch. And I'm assuming it's on that second tab there, that little play icon. You can even play some animations as well. Maybe like a roar, maybe like a bite, maybe an eating animation. We'll have to wait and see how deep that repository is. It's probably not going to be every animation, that'd be a little crazy. But this will be a really cool way to check some of them out in person, up in person. In more detail is the words I'm looking for. The one thing I'm hoping for, I don't see it here, but hopefully there's a button in the actual thing to just like a hide UI button, basically. Just press U to hide UI, and then you can maybe just keep rotating and do all that kind of stuff. And obviously you won't be able to change details, but you could look in a little bit more detail. Still not quite done, but nearly. We have some quality of life updates. Now I just copy and pasted this because I'm lazy. So some pretty cool little things here. I'll kind of go through this relatively quickly. After update 2, you can instantly sell minerals you unearthed during expeditions. Usually you had to extract them, you remember, it got added, so a mineral add 1, 2 or 3 or something to your extraction queue, so you'd have to extract both dinosaur fossils and minerals together. There were reviewers of this game who complained that they couldn't sell minerals for more than it costs, because it costs 50,000 to do an extraction queue, and some minerals are worth less than that. So people are complaining like, I'm only getting 25k, what is the point in doing this? The point, of course, is to queue it with other things, but now that's no longer a problem anyway, you just sell them, so that's pretty good. You can assign MVUs to patrol ranger posts, so you could actually stay in first person if your dinosaurs are sick. MVUs would go around and treat minor injuries and diseases that can be cured, as well as heal dinosaurs in critical health conditions. Pretty sweet. Certain operation buildings get several new upgrades that let you... Certain operation buildings will get several new upgrades that let you cut down on task time and cost to be able to give your MVU, ranger and capture teams unlimited fuel and resources. Unlimited fuel is actually a really big deal, as well as increase the scientist limit of various tasks. That sounds interesting. On the tour ride side of things, we're adding in a Jurassic World gate. Very nice. So if we went back to... Am I going to go all the way back? I am. If we'll go all the way back to here, there's going to be a Jurassic World equivalent for this, which is quite cool as well, right? For the gyrosphere. Hopefully it's not just this, but Jurassic World. Maybe it's got like blue flames or something. That'd be awesome. I like my blue flames. So that's getting added to the game as well. Ton of new contracts added to the game to encourage you to add to or improve your park and facilities. There's a list if you want to take a look at that as well. In addition to this, we're adding a time completion bonus to a large number of contracts. So if you want a lot of extra cash worth finishing them quickly, that might be interesting for challenge mode. We'll have to see how that works out. Finally, certain dinosaur behaviors are getting a small update, specifically related to group attacks and hunts. Prey dinosaurs now have the potential to flee when a group attack starts. That's pretty cool. They can actually get away. Prey can even outrun predators if the predator runs out of stamina. Whereas in the past, what would happen was, let's say your Velociraptor is chasing down your Homalocephale, your Raptor runs out of stamina, your Raptor sort of sits for a little bit, it gets its stamina back, your Homalocephale still keeps darting around, the Raptor gets its stamina back, it gets up, and it chases it down yet again. It never stops. So it sounds like this time, if that happens, the prey will actually escape, and the predator would have to reinitiate a hunt, which they don't do instantly, so, you know, it gives them some breathing room. Some defending dinosaurs may even attempt to charge an oncoming group of predators, something we definitely wanted, something that a bit more aggression from, say, like the Triceratops or other ceratopsids in particular, or Ankylosaurids as well, that'd be really cool, or Stegosaurids. We've also made a slight tweak to Indominus Rex and Velociraptor cohabitation, letting the two species form a single territory together. Again, that was a little weird that I don't think they fought, I think they did have a weird interaction, but a little tweak there so they form one wholesome pack, which is really cool. So, big, chunky update. What have I done here? Did it wrong. Free update, 8th of March. Sandbox changes, tons of really good sandbox changes. Definitely the most exciting bit. No scientists. Glory. New decorations, first person mode, species viewer, and a ton of those quality of life and general updates. A fantastic free update. Big shout out to Frontier for really putting the work into these free updates. I think some people maybe find the Camp Cretaceous Dinosaur Pack a little disappointing in how much we get, blah, 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 blah. But I do find that's offset quite well by just the sheer volume of changes that comes along with the free updates. They were fantastic for Evolution 1. And I was always really curious about how they would up the game on Evolution 2, because Evolution 2 carried on, other than the trees and the Raptor pen, it carried on a lot of the features we got from Evolution 1. So how do you keep adding more in the free updates? Well, stuff like this. Really good stuff. I'm very excited. First person mode. Instant building, no scientists. It's like all my dreams come true at once. There's only one more thing. I don't mean to complain because I'm very, very happy about this. But there's always room to grow. The one thing we need now, more than anything else in my opinion, more than literally anything else, that's meant to be a Ferris wheel, is more attractions and stuff like that. More ways of guests interacting with dinosaurs and viewing dinosaurs. That would be top of my list now. And if I'm honest, it might be alone in that list. I don't think there would be much else that I'd want to add. Crazy. That Ferris wheel is terrifying. Another quick little post-recording update I should have mentioned. The Baryonyx trio, of course, we all saw that picture during the Camp Cretaceous pack reveal. I didn't really notice anything wrong with it, but in retrospect it clearly was. It didn't really match the Camp Cretaceous versions at all. They said that was an outdated picture. Or something, whatever. But the point is they've updated that clearly. The three skins now much more closely resemble the ones from Camp Cretaceous. So people who had a problem with that, which is totally understandable, don't get me wrong, should be much happier. I've got to say, they look pretty good actually. They'll be vying with the default Baryonyx for sure. They look pretty slick. Quite excited about that. Thank you very much for joining me. Throw me a like down below if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what part of this update you're most excited about, and I'll see you lovely folks very soon. And remember, just a week and a little bit and the update will be here. We'll be covering all these changes and of course the Camp Cretaceous Dinosaur Pack itself. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much of as always. Bye bye.